Good day, everyone. This is Piney Needles, and welcome to DDO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in DDO and at the tabletop. And please welcome my co-host from Ravenloft, Draculetta.
Hey, everybody.
Good evening, Draculetta. I presume you've had a nice sleep during the daytime and are waking up to...
Oh, I need something. Gen Con was Gen Con and very busy.
Yes, I'm sure you stayed out of the light then.
I tried as much as I could. But
You tried as much as you could. All right, let's then begin with our game news, and we can head into Gen Con stuff later. So therefore, we have DDO Chronicle issue 200.
yay!
Woo!
They finally hit 200. Yeah.
All right, well, they seem to reuse their logo there.
Maybe, possibly, whatever gave you that idea that it was reusing logos. I mean, come on. That is fine quality artwork that we're talking about here.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, hit it very well. Subtle changes.
Yeah, but anyway, congratulations. Yeah, 200 episodes, or 200 editions, I should say, of the Chronicle, and wasn't much in it this week. Basically, I thought it was nice that they put in here what is called the Chronicle Hall of Fame. And it says many of these folks have been featured in countless editions of the DDO Chronicle. Thank you. And some of those people include us, DDO Cast, DDO Wiki, DDO Gamer, Damsels of DDO, DDO Cocktail Hour, and DDO Central, Ginger Spice's YouTube channel, X's YouTube channel, Ron's Character Planner, the DDO Character Builder Light, Order of Synlectica, and Tactilicious and Craftalicious. So I thought that was nice that they kind of gave a shout out to all of the people in the community that are working to keep DDO's name out there in the community and elsewhere. But there was, of course, a Chronicle comment question for the week.
Ooh.
So, Pineleaf, if you could have 200 of anything in DDO, what would it be?
200 of anything?
Anything. The sky's the limit. You can pick one item, and you can have 200 of it.
That will be really... That sounds like a really tough thing to choose here. Let's see. 200 of... How about 200 bag slots?
Ooh, that is a really good answer, actually. I didn't think about that. I like that answer. We need to make that happen.
Yeah.
Mine was 200 of the greater Slayer pods. Because I love those things. You can get so much XP when you have the Slayer pods running.
Ah.
See, I was being greedy with my experience. I should have been greedy with my storage.
Yes.
If only I was a hoarder, I would have thought of 200 bags.
Right.
And Gumsgang in the chat is saying he wants 200 tasty hams. Ham.
You want 200 tasty hams. Oh, well, I think I just sold 3 of those on.
You sold them? And what'd you sell them for? Bad Pine Leaf. You eat those things.
I didn't see much use of having it since that was on a druid, and I could just use a good berry if I really...
Yeah, well, all right. I guess if you want to get technical about it. Pine Leaf logic strikes again.
I didn't want them taking up my storage. Those are the ones that I got when I was doing the Where There's Smoke, and I decided to use diplomacy on the dogs instead of feeding the hams to them.
See, I see how you are. There was, of course, a fan site news section of the Chronicle. Let's try that again. LSD 37's Character Builder Lite has been updated, so click over and make sure you're getting the newest version and seeing the changes. DDO Cast, man, I tell you, I cannot speak tonight. It's going to be a long show. DDO Cast, episode 438, which that just sounds crazy. We're nearing our 100, and they're at 438 already. Looks at crafting and the producer's letters and more. And and everybody, don't get excited. There's not a new producer letter. They were looking at the latest one and just talking about producer's letter in general. This was another debate episode. We got a shout out for our last episode. And DDO Gamer, Jeff is delving into posters and handbills. So click over and check that out.
All right.
And the big news out of the Chronicle, though,
Yeah.
you can get a free res cake.
Ooh.
Chronicle turns 200. We all get a slice of cake to celebrate it. All you need to do is go into the DDO store and use the coupon code Chronicle200, and you will get one free Shiverous cake, one per account. So as I say, choose wisely. That coupon will expire on August 31st, so you have a little bit of time to figure out which character you want to use it on.
All right, good. Then let's head into the store sales so that we can see what you can get with a little bit of coin. Are any of those cakes on sale?
They are not.
Oh.
You can get some treasure hunter elixirs, jewels of fortune, use the select shared storage, and the Slayer count boost, all at 25% off in the DDO store this week. Your free sample of the week is a long-lasting potion of 10 physical resistance. You will get 5 of those potions when you use the coupon code LLPPR5.
Long-lasting potion of physical resistance.
See? Logical codes. Gotta love them.
Yeah,
and once again, those are like all the other codes, one per account, so choose wisely.
Then let's head into the site news where DDO Players Gen Con 2016 Hubba USA interview with Leah Colton.
Colton, yeah, and it's Leah, but yes, close enough. Leah Colton, she is actually the president of Hubba USA. So I stopped by the booth and had a little chat with her. This is the first of what will be many Gen Con 2016 videos to be released. I decided I'm going to release them slowly. Maybe I'll do 1 or 2 a day. That way, you don't get bombarded with all this stuff. But I had some really good interviews over the last 4 days at Gen Con. But yeah, we talked about a little bit of the history of the Hubba game company. And then we chatted about a new game they have out called Gone Cuckoo, where you are building a nest and trying to lay cuckoo eggs in the nest, and you're trying not to drop the eggs.
You're trying to lay cuckoo eggs into the nest but not drop the eggs.
Yes, because you're pulling the nest out, and you always have to watch a video and see. It's a really awesome looking game. Great. Hubba makes great kids games, so if you want to play games with your kids or get your kids interested in tabletop gaming, look for any Hubba USA title, and your kids are going to fall in love with them, and adults will love them as well. Because they make a game called Rhino Hero that is amazing. Just saying.
All right. Then let's see what's coming in from the dungeon. And our first story is that the Warlock of Firetop Mountain is ready to get all steamed up.
Well played, Pineley. That, I think, was your best one ever, sir. Congratulations, Steve. Do you remember the old classic adventure game books?
Well, I remember the one that I remember was Sorcery. I don't know if you remember Sorcery. It was a 4-parter where it was a 4-parter, and it was a Steve Jackson production, which is why I was running on this. I presume this is the same Steve Jackson that did Sorcery. Yes, because it was a little confusing when I first saw it, because this is a different Steve Jackson than the one who did Ogre and the Fantasy Trip.
It's the other Steve Jackson.
The British Steve Jackson, I think, is what some people call him.
Yes. So yes, this is basically what these were. These were books. They were sort of like the old Choose Your Own Adventure books, but they are making these for the digital age, of course, because everybody wants this stuff on your phones, on your iPads, on your computers, etc., etc. So the first one up is the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, and of course, written by as Pineley said, the British Steve Jackson and Ian Livingston. Tin Man Games is the one that is inching closely to making this a reality for the digital age. It's a fantasy solo RPG, and it is going to combine unique, simultaneous turn-based combat with a journey that changes based on which figurine that you take into Firetop Mountain. So you could replay it with a different character and figure, and your story is going to change based on that figure, and of course based on some of the choices that you make. So this is going to be heading to Steam later in the month. They're shooting for the end of August, actually. So this will be up on Steam for you to get and devour it and play it and remember the good old days of the Choose Your Adventure books.
I'm trying to remember. I had thought that there was something done, I can't remember exactly what, related to sorcery about 6 months to a year ago.
Really?
I can't remember what it was exactly, but
I don't remember.
there's something like tickling in my mind on that, but I didn't stay close to it.
Yeah, I don't know. I think there was talk for a while that they were going to bring out one of those on iPad, but I don't know if any of the sorcery stuff ever came out.
Okay. Yeah, I think it was related to
Okay.
iPad
Yeah.
is what I was thinking.
Yeah,
of.
I'm not sure if it was ever released or not, but yeah. And they did say they are looking at, after the Steam version of this is out, they are looking at also doing iOS and Android versions of it as well. So it's pretty great to see all this cool stuff that we used to play coming back for the digital age.
All right, we'll see how that works. So now then, let's head to Force Grey, Giant Hunters, Episode 4. Seeking the Sun Dragon. Ooh, that's hot.
That is very hot, and it was hot. Well, actually, I won't say anything because it's spoilers, but the dragon is awesome. That is all I'm going to say. They did survive what happened to them in the swamp. I'm keeping this spoiler-free for those of you that aren't caught up. So they are seeking out that sun dragon, and they find the dragon, maybe? You'll have to watch and find out.
Okay.
I'm telling you, Force Grey is getting better and better after every episode. It is so good. The show is so good.
All right. And then on Critical Role, RPG books coming from Geek and Sundry and Grey Ronin.
Or, as I prefer to call it, a license to print money.
License to print money.
Which is basically what it is, because it's like Green Ronin is like, here's a new Critical Role RPG source book. Okay, buy it, take my money. Here's a Critical Role whatever RPG book. Okay, here, take my money. It's a license to print money is what it is. But yes, Green Ronin Publishing and Geek and Sundry are teaming up once again. You might remember they did this last year for Titan's Grave. They're doing it again for Critical Role. Matt Mercer's World of Exandria, they are bringing to the page so you can play it in your own home games. This will be written by Matt Mercer along with several other people. All the critters out there who are fans of Critical Role are going absolutely crazy at the thought of being able to play in the same world that Matt Mercer created.
Yes, but in that world you can't have 5 gold in a party.
No, because it's not Titan's Grave.
Okay.
Speaking of Titan's Grave, I don't know what's coming or what's up with Titan's Grave, because it was supposed to be started already, and they haven't said boo about Titan's Grave. So something weird's going on.
It's all a secret.
Exactly. But anyway, these are going to be for 5e, of course, and they will be out later in the year. We don't have an exact date yet or any more information, but we will be sure to let you know when this is coming up. So Critical Role, you too can play in the same world as Critical Role.
All right. Then let's head up to the tabletop. And what is this? Burger Up card game. What is this? Supposed to be Big Boy the card game or something? Like
You're making hamburgers, man.
Yeah, apparently so.
You're trying to be the world's best hamburger maker and take your restaurant to the top of the charts.
To the top of the charts. You mean you're going to take on McDonald's head for head?
Allegedly, maybe a copyright-free version of McDonald's, but sure.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, in the game, you play as an owner/chef of a burger restaurant, and you, of course, need to create the greatest hamburger that people have ever tasted using fresh gourmet ingredients.
Ooh.
You use the freshest tasty ingredients to make the biggest and most mouth-watering gourmet burgers around. If you satisfy your customers, you will make money. You can upgrade your restaurant and, of course, become the best burger restaurant in town. This is a card-matching puzzle game about the art of making burgers for 2 to 4 players. And the company that originally came out with this is called Rule and Make. They are a British company. They have teamed up with Greenbrier Games here in the United States to help make the United States version release of this happen. The full retail version of it will be later in the year. It was available on a very limited quantity at Gen Con 2016. So if you were there, you may have been able to pick up a version of it. Like I said, it was in pretty limited supply, but it will be in full retail and in game stores later in the year. Thanks to Greenbrier Games and Rule and Make. They've teamed up to get it over into the U.S. It looks like a really fun game, actually.
Okay, if you say so.
Pine Leaf's like, burger game? Really? Really? We're talking about hamburgers now? That's
Yeah,
well, hey,
right,
remember,
okay.
not too long ago, we talked about Houdini's Poutini. So,
Well, yeah.
fair.
Okay. So therefore, all right, let's go and see what's coming from Rather Dashing Games.
There is a slew of new games coming out from the fine folks over at Rather Dashing Games. The first one coming up is Element. That is a challenging strategy game where you will need to take the elements, fire, water, earth, and wind, and combine them with the ability to, and combine them in a certain way. It's very cryptic right now how it's going to play, but this is actually a remake of the old game called Element, if you remember it. Don't know if anybody remembers that game. It came out probably 6 years ago. Very limited run game. Everybody really liked it, but it kind of disappeared because the company that published it went under. But this is going to be for 2 to 4 players, and that will ensure that no two games will ever play the same because of the way you combine the elements. And there is a video that I put up in the story on this so you can kind of see a little hint at gameplay.
All right, and I would presume, and when you say elements, are the ones of the periodic table, fire, earth, air, water, or Euclid geometrical figures, or what?
Fire, wind, earth, and water only.
Okay.
You know, the 4 standard elements, not the pine leaf elements that, only you know
not the pine leaf elements.
Of course. Pine leaf logic again. And the next game they have coming up, I think, is the one I am most excited about. This sounds so fun. It's called This Belongs in a Museum. You are going to journey back to the golden age of archaeology, and this is the 3rd installment of what they are calling their Drawn and Quartered series. Easy to learn but hard to win games. I have talked in the past about playing Graveyards, Ghost, and Haunted Houses, and they also have another game called Pirates, Ninjas, Robots, and Zombies. If you know how to play those 2 games, you'll know how to play this because it's part of that series. But you are using trucks, ships, and airplanes to connect your dig sites to your encampment, and you move your archaeologist around the play area. But you need to watch out because at some point there is going to be a mummy that will be on the board, and he is going to run around and steal your points. With a little luck and a lot of strategy, you can be the most daring archaeologist of them all. Once again, the name of the game is This Belongs in a Museum. So that could be out early in 2017. And then there is another game coming out that they kind of teased. They didn't say much about. Just the name of it is Strange Alliances. And what that is going to be is an expansion for the Pirates, Ninjas, Robots, and Zombies game that is going to expand that game to allow for Pirate Ninjas, Robot Zombies, and more crazy combinations.
Okay.
Because who doesn't want a pirate ninja? I mean, really. Or how about a zombie pirate? Or a zombie ninja? Or a ninja robot? It's limitless what you can do, Pine Leaf.
Well, wait. If that's all that there's into it, I would think that they're...
Okay, once again, Pine Leaf. It's like the 4th time you've logic on me tonight. I'm tired of confused from Gen Con. Be nice to me.
Anything else coming from Rather Dashing?
That's it from our friends over at Rather Dashing Games.
All right, then let's look into some Kickstarters. We have the Lords of Rock Kickstarter. Is this as in rock and roll, or is this as in mineralogist?
Rock and roll, Pine Leaf. I would like to see you play this game because for some reason I just cannot picture you playing this.
Based on the artwork and the theme, I have a feeling that you're right.
Yeah. It's awesome, though. They say after ruling the universe for a millennia, the gods have found their power diminishing, and some of them have faded away completely. Those remaining are forced into a battle for their very survival. War would only lead to annihilation. So they have agreed that they will battle for the souls and powers of players. And the only way to do that is on the cosmic stage. And, of course, on that stage, only one form of music is allowed, rock and roll.
And why is that?
Because it's rock and roll, Pine Leaf. In the game, you will pick 4 gods to be your band, which is going to make up vocals, drums, bass, and lead guitar. And then you will go take your band to various venues, and you're going to try to rock out for people's souls, literally. The harder you rock, the more soul stones you are going to collect. Play your set list cards to rock even harder, while making sure your opponent's sets are very lame. The band with the most soul stones at the end of 2 tours is the winner of the game. It's a 2 to 5 player game. Should play in about 20 to 30 minutes. Kickstarter is up and running now. And let me click on that link. I should have had that up already. Looks like the Kickstarter is got 23 days to go. They are well past their goal, so they are working on the ever popular stretch goals. So look for Lords of Rock soon. This game sounds amazing, Pine Leaf. I can't believe you don't like this game. This game is awesome.
It hasn't even been published yet.
Okay, the theory behind the game is awesome. How's that?
Okay.
You're using rock and roll to steal people's souls, Pine Leaf. What could be better than that? I know what could be better.
What?
Sharknado, the board game.
Sharknado, the board game. Okay. What exactly is Sharknado? It sounds like a water spout coming to attack you with sharks inside of it, jumping on you from the water spout.
That is exactly what it is, Pine Leaf. It is a tornado made of sharks.
A tornado made of sharks.
It's a Sharknado. Poor Pine Leaf.
Okay. I'm just trying to think of. That's why I was thinking it's more likely would be a water spout because sharks would need to be in water.
Don't use logic.
Pine
Leaf logic. Do not use Pine Leaf. It's Sharknado. It's a tornado made of sharks. That's all you need to know. It's based off of the sci-fi movies that have taken the nation by storm. No pun intended there. Big cult hit. They are actually making a board game. This is not a joke. See, when I posted this today, a couple people pinged me on Twitter and email, and they said, "You're joking about that, right? That's not real." No, it's real. This is coming, folks. Sharknado, the board game, is coming. The Kickstarter is going to be up later in the month. Players are going to work together against the game's AI mechanic to win the chosen scenario of the game, which can range from killing a certain number of sharks to destroying a Sharknado to simply just staying alive as long as you can. The game designer's goals with the scenario-based approach is a maximum replayability game and the underlying storytelling element in which players will create their own Sharknado experience with each new game. So look for Sharknado, the board game, up on Kickstarter. Coming August 13th is when that Kickstarter kicks off and runs for 30 days. We will update you, of course, as soon as that goes live, because everybody's going to run over to Kickstarter and back this, because who doesn't want a Sharknado, the board game?
Okay. You said that this is based on something else?
The sci-fi movies of the same name.
The sci-fi movie, yeah, that's what I thought you said. Yes. I'm just trying to so they made a sci-fi movie called Sharknado.
Oh, yes, they did, Pine Leaf. Yes, they did.
I'm speechless.
You're trying to figure this all out, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Okay, that has the weirdest concept for a movie I have ever heard in my life.
But it's awesome, Pine Leaf. It's so bad, it's awesome.
Okay. One of those movies, yes. All right, let's head into Rune Wars, the miniatures game, which is coming from Fantasy Flight seems to be having a lot of miniatures games come out lately.
They are, and they are actually getting back to some wargaming miniatures, because here lately, all they've been doing is that silly Star Wars stuff that nobody cares about, right? I kid, do not send hate mail. Kid, it was a joke. Yeah, it was funny. I was in the Fantasy Flight Report where they were announcing all their new titles and stuff, and it cracked me up. Because every time they would talk about a game, there was like some applause. It was like, yay, this was announced and everybody was like, ooh, yay, that sounds really good. They talked about some other things. Yeah. They mentioned Star Wars and like the whole room, which there was probably about 1,000 people in that room at Gen Con. The whole room just lost their freaking minds. People, every time they would say Star Wars, people were jumping up and down. We're screaming, we're yelling. And I'm like, seriously, people? But anyway, we're not talking about Star Wars. We're talking about Rune Wars. This is taking us back to the magical world of Terrianoth, and that, of course, is from the Rune-bound board game, for those of you that are familiar.
Also Descent, if I recall.
Yes, I do believe you are correct. And this is going to let you play out those epic battles between armies on the tabletop. 2 factions are coming out at the start of the game, so you will get 2 factions in the box. It's going to be the Dagon Lords or the Legions of Wygar the Undying. Forces will be customizable so that you can tailor your force to just how you want it to be. And of course, they did announce that more factions would be released later on as expansions. And they're going to do a unique system for this game. There is going to be some spin combat dials, sort of similar to how they do in X-Wing. If you're familiar with the X-Wing game, those minis kind of have the dials on their bases. These will have them as well. They are going to have 2 dials on them. One is for the action dial, and the other is for the modifier dial. And that is how you're going to actually be able to really get in and tell your units what you want them to do. And the other unique thing they're doing is the figures are going to be on bases that will interlock together. So you can get a squadron of, say, 4 or 5 units, pop them together, and then with the use of those dials, you can set what each one is going to do, and then you will move them all as one giant piece instead of having to move each individually.
Okay.
So look for this coming out early in 2017.
2017. All right. Then let's head to our week in gaming. And since you were at Gen Con, I'm sure you've done a thing or two related to gaming.
A few things. But before we get into that, I have to tell you that you were absolutely 100% unequivocally correct in your guess, Pineleaf.
You mean I made a guess at something that's right? Oh my goodness gracious, that's a shock.
I know. I was actually going to send you an email when I was at Gen Con, but I thought, you know what? I'm not going to send you an email. I'm going to wait and tell you about this live as we record this episode to get your reaction. Do you remember, it was last week's show, we were talking about that Fantasy Flight was bringing out the Mansions of Madness. And they have the second edition that uses the app.
Yes, I have a copy of it right next to me.
Well, there you go. So, and then we mentioned that if you had the second edition of it, you could, or if you owned the first edition, they were giving you ways to convert the first edition to the second edition.
Right.
And then you said, I bet you anything they are going to sell all the figures from the first edition for people that do not own that but want them.
Right.
And guess what they're going to do?
They're going to sell the figures.
Yes, they are. They are going to release a pack of those later in the year, actually.
Okay. So
yeah, it was just funny because I was in the well, they call it the Fantasy Flight Report. That's when they announce all their new titles and everything at Gen Con. Okay. And I was sitting there, and I was just laughing because I was like, oh, my God, Pineleaf is right. It was exactly what you said. So, yes.
All right.
And they didn't rule out the fact that the Doom board game might get an app later either. So.
Oh, they haven't ruled it out.
They haven't said yes because somebody asked that question. And they said, we're not saying yes, but we're not saying no.
Okay. In other words, they're looking to see how it works out before doing it.
Right. So anyway, yeah, I just had to tell you that you were right. So
Okay.
congratulations for being right, but you're always
Okay. Oh, I thought you were about to say even a blind squirrel could find a nut.
right. No. Anyway, week in gaming. Yeah, didn't do too much. Was at Gen Con. Did play a few games.
Okay.
Basically spent most of my time actually, running around talking to people and doing all that fun stuff. But did get a little gameplay in. Played Hackmaster, the new edition. That was fun. That was the first time I've actually played Hackmaster.
What's the change? What are the changes for the new edition?
I don't know because I've never played the older edition. So,
well, the older edition was pretty much second edition. Well, okay, they did make some changes to it to be more like the comics, I believe, but it was based on second edition D&D because they asked for permission to do second edition D&D
right
as Hackmaster, and of course it said, well, we'll license anything for a little money, right? They didn't need, right? The people at Wizards didn't need it anymore, so yeah, we're willing to license it out.
The thing I liked best about Hackmaster
Yeah.
was there was no downtime in combat.
Except when your character goes down.
What's that? Well, yeah, of course that. But you have, depending on certain variables, you can act every X amount of seconds. So there's no, you don't have to wait, okay, everybody rolls for initiative and then, player A goes, player B goes, player C goes. You have active combat and it works really well and it was really fun and we actually survived. We actually didn't die. It was really close at the end of our scenario we were doing. We had one person that was down to 1 hit point. I was down to 1 hit point. And we managed to pull it out and kill the boss, but it was close. And Hackmaster is known for being pretty brutal. So,
oh yeah.
But in our defense, though, we were playing a beginner thing, so they weren't being as brutal as they could be. The table next to us was playing an advanced scenario, and they were dying left and right over at that table. It was insane what was going on at the table next to us. So, but played Hackmaster, and then I played the board game from Yellow called Welcome to the Dungeon. It is a card-based game where you two players are going head-to-head, and it's a push-your-luck type of game. You pick a character that you're going to run through the dungeon, and both players are going to run through the dungeon, and you take turns drawing cards, and you can either take a piece of equipment away from the character, because there's some monsters you need a torch to be able to kill. And there is a torch card on the table. Well, if I pulled a monster that needed a torch card, I could say, okay, I'm going to pull this monster out because there's more of them in the deck, but I'm also going to pull the torch out. So if there's any torch monsters in there, they basically can't be killed because the torch is gone. So I can try to screw over the other player. But the problem is, at any time, if a player is ready to actually make your opponent run through the dungeon, all you have to do is pass on your turn. And then your opponent has to run through the dungeon no matter what.
Okay.
So you have to learn how to balance, okay, how much do I want to try to help myself or how much do I want to hurt my opponent? Because they're doing the same thing against you, and at any time they could force you to go through the dungeon, and you just stacked it up with stuff that's going to be impossible to beat. So really fun mechanic, really fun game. That's called Welcome to the Dungeon, and it's from Yellow Games. Then the only other thing I did is I took a game with me, if we had some downtime in the hotel room, that we are going to review for the site, and it is called Battle Monkeys. It's a card game that sounds exactly like what you think it is. It's monkeys battling each other to see who is the ultimate monkey.
All right. So you're starting Monkey Wars then?
It is Monkey Wars. That's right. And you can have an ape-ageddon too, which I will talk about in the review. So it's an ape-ageddon and a battle monkey war. Say that a couple times fast. So that's really all I did in gaming. It was just a lot of walking around, and talking to game publishers, game companies, interviewing them, just getting our name out there, that we're a site that reviews games and stuff. So
right.
It was fun.
All right.
So what did you do while I was walking around Gen Con and having fun and stuff?
All right. We'll begin with my latest addition for my Warlock, so doing a Warlock in every single character race. And this time I decided to try the Warforged.
A Warforged Warlock?
Yeah, it's...
That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard of.
Well, you want to know what's even weirder? The Warlock trainer in the harbor is a Warforged. I never could understand that, but it's like, what?
I guess I never paid attention, but now that you say that, it is, because I've talked to him many a time, but
yeah,
and I guess I never thought about it.
But anyway, the Warforged Warlock, and I guess I thought Warforged, they look like they're big and tough. So I found out they're not quite as big and tough as I thought, because I was doing the room after we go into the gargoyle room, and then you go in a couple other rooms, and you go to the shrine, and then the room after that, where there are all these orcs.
Mm-hmm.
I got killed there.
How did you like pull too many groups at once, or how'd you manage to get killed?
I don't know what exactly I did wrong there, but I guess I must have pulled too many orcs or something like that, because there were just too many for me there, and I was just getting beat upon, and I wasn't fast enough in telling my cleric to heal me, heal me, heal me. So therefore, I managed to get killed then. No, the good news is I happened to be right next to the res shrine.
Well, yeah, there's your silver lining, I suppose.
Yeah, so I was able to get rezzed, and my healer decided to heal me then. Now you decide to do it.
And now you decide to do your job that I'm paying you for.
Yes, but this does demonstrate that I think my Warforged is, which is unlikely considering this start, I managed to kill Zuggitmoid. I know I haven't done that yet. Then the Warforged is going to be finishing in last place, because I think that's the earliest death I've had, because the Dwarf, for example, died only to Zuggitmoid, and I think there might be one other who only died to Zuggitmoid. So therefore, I think the Warforged is finishing last in my who's the best class I finished with as a Warlock in there. Now, of course, a Warforged as Warlock. This isn't exactly, you were surprised with the combination.
Oh yeah, that's so weird.
It's a completely weird combination. So therefore, I guess I shouldn't be too shocked that it's not working out as well. All right, let's head then to my Wolflock. And first of all, I ran the Sacred Helm from Chanticleer, and that allowed me to level up to Warlock 2. So now I'm Druid 2, Warlock 2, so they're balanced out on there. And then I ran in the Sharn Syndicate. I did Stand Your Ground and Dirty Laundries. So a few of the things, trying to slowly go up the levels and see how I do on that matter. And then in Minecraft, in my single-player world, I was working on expanding an NPC village by adding a warehouse there. A warehouse that happens to have a lot of doors in it, which if you know Minecraft villages, you know why I made sure there were lots of doors in there. And while I was going around there checking up on the villagers, while I was taking a break on the thing, I found this cleric that decided to jump in a well.
Okay.
So therefore, I'm trying to coax the cleric to get out of the well, and before I do that, I was seeing the cleric was conversing with someone another NPC was standing on the well, and the cleric inside the well, they're bobbing up and down. Eventually, though, I decided that the cleric couldn't get out because of the way the well was configured, so I opened up the well so the cleric could get out and closed the well again. I was like, oh boy, what NPCs do in order to drive you crazy. Now, on my multiplayer server, I managed to build a zombie farm. Now, this is the first time I built a mob farm pretty much on my own, so therefore, that's doing, and in this farm, I'm just racking up experience on this thing. Yeah, so killing zombies left and in fact, I used the zombie flesh that the zombies were dropping in order to trade with the village I have on my multiplayer world, and I wound up being able to get something like 81 these. Oh, I forgot what to call these things. They're sort of lamps. They're glowstones. Yes, 81 glowstones. I eventually got because I just sold so many of this. It gave me emeralds, and I bought glowstones with the emeralds. That's like, So the incredible amount that I was able to buy from the people in the village on there. So that shows you that I'm finally learning how to do village trading, which is I was always wondering, well, what do you really get out of village trading? Well, I needed lots of glowstones, and I managed to get them because of it. And then I also learned a little bit of a problem in that I had gone through a lot of difficulty in order to find a sheep, and I was keeping the sheep in a pen. Now, my base is in what's known as a taiga. In fact, I think it's an enhanced taiga, one that has big redwood trees in it and podzol and all this stuff. And one of the things that you have plenty of in there also are wolves. In fact, I tamed a couple of them during my early days on the server. And one day I was coming in to check on my sheep in order to shear it, and then I found my sheep was gone, and instead there was a wolf in my pen. So the wolf must have snuck into the pen and ate my sheep.
That's awesome. Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so now I have a penned wolf. Maybe someday I'll go around training and taming the wolf so that I could have a third wolf in the area. And the other thing is that in order to help me facilitate my trading with the villagers, I had built a nether portal near the village. I could go between my base and the village back and forth easily. And then I built a small house around the nether portal. Okay, that sounded something reasonable to do, so it wasn't exposed outside. Well, the villagers took a liking to going into that small house I built, and then took a liking to going into the nether portal. And there is a single door inside my nether tunnel network, and they're all seem to be, and I have these villagers congregating between the nether portal and the single door, because villagers love doors. And so therefore, they seem to be thinking that this part of the nether is part of their village. And I didn't think that villagers would ever just voluntarily just go into the nether like that. And see, the people who know Minecraft are nodding. The people who aren't are saying, huh?
Yeah, I was going to say, okay, I don't play Minecraft, but I'm sure if you play Minecraft, you understand that.
Yes.
I'm just laughing about the wolf eating your sheep.
Yeah.
That's totally hilarious to me for some reason, and I don't know why.
Very well. We currently have 27 supporters on Patreon. If you would like to help keep supporting DDO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us here for an episode of DDO Players News. And we have a comment this week from Grimord, and what's he talking about?
Oh, well, actually, it's a she.
Okay.
Grim left that comment on the Warlock of Firetop Mountain, and she said, I joined the Kickstarter for this. It was the first fighting... let's try that again. It was the first fighting fantasy book I bought, and the Tin Man version as well. Looks great. Can't wait.
If you'd like to contact us, you can contact us at podcast@ddoplayers.com. You can also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, DDO Players at DDO Players, Draculetta at Draculetta_72, Pineleaf at Pineleaf News, and you can join us at our Steam group. The Players Alliance has 5 live shows. Every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have DDO Players News. Every other Thursday at 9:30-ish p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have XP Quest.
DJ will be happy you got the ish in there.
Yes. Every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Lojo Players News. Every other Saturday after Lojo Players News, we have Tales of the Free Folk. And on the last Friday of each month at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have Lojo Academy After School. You can join us for our live shows at ddoplayers.com/live. And that is all for this week. And this is Pineleaf News reminding you to quest responsibly.